Well, good morning, DirtFish friends, and welcome back to our terrace, the DirtFish terrace here in the centre of Albi. It's the final day of the Rally Italia Sardegna. Yesterday we saw, well, almost too much drama. What is today going to bring for us? Well, as you can see, David Evans, the jumper's back out. That gives you a clue. Look at the mountain, sorry David, the mountains behind, covered in clouds.
Might be needing the coat today, Cole.
We might be needing the coat today.
Have you bought your coat, Cole?
I have not brought my coat with me. David has brought his raincoat. I haven't. David, let's start by talking about that then. We've got four stages to go today. We've got just around about 46 kilometres, around about 30 miles or so of competitive stages. The weather could play a big part. What are you hearing?
Exactly that the weather is coming in. You know, we can just feel it starting to drizzle a little bit here. It's coming, Cole. You know, you're a man who can dramatise the weather with the best of us, but genuinely, it is coming. The teams are expecting it. Everybody was talking yesterday about trying to save the soft tyres for today. They need soft tyres. You know, if you go out there, it's markedly cooler, isn't it?
It is. It really is. Yeah, you know, and the jumper is not actually a little bit of overkill this morning. There's a touch of a chill in the air.
There is. It's around 13, 14, probably 15 degrees. So it's not actually that cold. But, you know, it would be difficult to make, particularly if it starts to rain quite heavily. It's hard because, you know, that hard tire just sits on top, doesn't bite down. There's no compound grip in there, which the teams are really after. So it will have an impact. But equally, having said that, sorry to jump in again, how much of an impact? Because, you know, the gaps are now quite big. You know, there's not really a race apart from until we get to Osberg.
Well, yeah, Osberg is the big one. We'll talk about that in just a second. But that's quite an interesting point you make there, David, because, you know, the gaps in, certainly, I was going to say top 10, but with our World Rally cars, it's really the top 4 because
there's only 4 left.
Rally 2 car is in 5th place. Would you consider taking a hard as a precaution against punctures? Is the hard tyre a little more puncture resilient than the soft tyre?
Not necessarily, no. You know, the construction of the tyre, they're both very obviously very well made, durable tyres. So no, it's literally just inevitably there is, because the rubber's that bit harder. Right. So yeah, it would. So maybe, you know, Takamoto, somebody like that could, but equally it can be detrimental because it's harder to control the car when you're on essentially the wrong tyre.
So you get the right feeling out in the stages.
Yeah, but equally, you know, because the temperatures aren't hot, you know, you're not going to heat the tyre that quickly. So you would make a soft tyre last probably a lot longer in these kind of conditions, particularly if it's raining. So, you know, I think we'll probably see some people going out on part 1 soft tyres.
That's quite possible. Tyre, you know, allocation was definitely a bit of an issue. The drivers really knew from shakedown that perhaps we were going to see some weather on Sunday. As David has said, we're not quite sure how much. Thunderstorms is the forecast. The stages, you know, we've got very used to that lovely power stage that came down off the hillside down to the Mediterranean on the other side of the island. The power stage here, it's a different power stage, similarly attractive, I'm told, in terms of its looks and down by the sea there.
Definitely, you know, this is a part of the island that we've not really been to since early 80s, mid 80s with Costa Smeralda. And you know, I was writing a piece last night about the fact that this place doesn't have the same sort of WRC heritage that San Remo had, but actually this place does have great history with that Costa Smeralda event. Tiziano Siviero, Mickey Biazion's co-driver, is part of the organisation. He goes through all of the stages here, and he talks, you know, expansively about having driven that power stage. Santa Teresa it ends in 40 years ago, and it's just a stunning bit of road. Starts really quickly, finishes really quickly, super technical in the middle. Lots of, you know, some tarmac bits in there. But it's crucially, it's by the sea. You know, this event's DNA, as you discovered yesterday when you nearly jumped in the harbour.
Nearly, not quite. You can have a look at that video on dirtfish.com.
You know, it's what it's all about. And they absolutely wanted, when they left that beautiful power stage in Argentiera or in Alghero last year, they wanted a power stage that ended virtually on the beach. Seems like we've got one. It's going to be a classic. And that's the bit, isn't it, Cole? You keep doing that, sorry. You keep starting to, but it's just come to me that's the place where 5 points. There's going to be a proper race. All of the boys come back. You know, Tanak's back and they're all going to be going. They'll have saved their tyres all day, and that's the place to watch.
I think
the
that's
race.
what we have to watch out for this morning. Yes, we haven't
Yeah.
got too much to talk about or too much to watch in terms of the battles, particularly in WRC. WRC2 is a completely different matter. Mads Osberg, 2.7 seconds adrift of Huttinen. He took best part of 33 seconds out of him in yesterday's look. But Osberg knows that there are issues with his car and the fragility of his car. He needs to look after his car and measure his push today. But, David, the power stage really, those 5 extra points, those extra manufacturer points, critical for the Hyundai drivers. They'll be looking for a 1-2 with Tanak and Neuville in there. Neuville, you'd have to say, obviously, he's still got to secure his 3rd place.
That's the point, you know.
Tanak and Sordo, Tanak and Neuville, who are going to be given the free rein to push in the power stage?
Tanak, absolutely Tanak. You know, just go and do exactly whatever you can do. Just exactly as was the case 2 weeks ago in Portugal. But Thierry, very, very difficult situation. That, you know, you've only got to get. We saw Sordo yesterday, you know, one corner just slightly wrong. Yeah, you know, as you said, he tried to open the next corner up and just ran that little bit wide. That's all it takes. And then you've lost 15 points and whatever he was going to get from the power stage. So no, just super cautious from, I would imagine, the top 3. You know, there's not going to be any huge pushing from there.
45 kilometres, 4 stages ahead of us. Is Rally Italia Sardegna going to deliver yet more drama? Myself, the jumper, the raincoat, heading off into the stages. DirtFish.com is the place to be this morning for all the news, all the action, as it unfolds here on the Costa Smeralda.